Rush. I'm George Balekji. He's Travis Thomas. We got a packed show for you guys today. Final show of the week before the Patriots take on the Jaguars in London. So we'll have a game preview. And as always, we do have on the Friday edition of the episode, the Michael Lombardi will stop by the show. We got plenty more going on later. But let's bring him in. He's Michael Lombardi, host of the GM Shuffle, host of Coach with Bill Belichick, and you catch him every morning during the week on VSiN Morning Line. Michael, how are we doing today, sir?
We are good. We are good, George. Travis, great to be here. They didn't let you guys go to London, huh? No London time for you guys?
I know.
You know what?
We need you. We need you to advocate for us, man. Help us out.
Yeah, I would like to. I would like to go to London in the middle of October. That'd be fun. Yeah, lots to do.
All right, next season when Pats get an international game, us three, we're going remote Foxboro Rush out in Europe. It'll be the fellas traveling around. But let's get into it. This Sunday will be Drake Maye's second start of the season, now on a neutral site, completely different environment being in London. But what stood out to you from his first start of his NFL career in that loss to the Texans?
Well, I think you saw why they made him the third pick overall in the draft. He's got great arm strength. He's got his arm is tied to his feet. He's got nice rhythm. He can move with the football. He can make all the throws. Obviously he's started 30 games in college, doesn't have as much experience as some of the other guys, but you could see the talent on the field, and I think that was encouraging. Now, it's going to get harder, right? I mean, the first half he threw for a little over 100 yards when the game was on the line. When the game became out of hand, he really played well, but you can't really dismiss that because this kid needs reps. He needs to play as much as he can. And he needs to keep improving. And I think what you want to see this week is for him to improve, not make the same mistakes he made last week, and keep trying to get better with the reps that he's getting in these games. And eventually, stacking those days together will make him a better pro.
Michael, I want to piggyback off that with sort of a two-parter, if you will. So bear with me. From the Patriots standpoint, I mean, hey, Drake Maye looked decent, but they still got smoked in the game. Is there such a thing as – you've been in the game a long time. Is there such a thing as a moral victory? Like, even though we lost, our kid at quarterback played well, there's things to build on. That's question one. And then question two is a Texans angle. I look at this team, Michael. I mean, the Chiefs, I know they haven't lost a game. They feel vulnerable to me. Is this Texans team a real contender to come out of the AFC and be in the Super Bowl?
Well, let's take the first question first. I think, look, one of the things the Patriots are going to try to do all year is sell hope, right? They know they're not going to the Super Bowl, right? Mayo came out and said he inherited a bad team, even though he re-signed most of the players from the team before. So I'm a little confused with where he stands on that. But I think the reality here is that, they played really good defense in the opener. They allowed 13 first downs to the Bengals. And since then, they haven't played good defense at all. I mean, the defense has gotten worse each week. That's a concern, especially if you're Mayo, you're the head coach and you're in charge and your defense is your specialty. So I think that's a real issue. And then offensively, you've struggled, but you're selling hope because you saw a young quarterback. Now, you turned the ball over 4 times in the game, which doesn't let you win. So there's really no moral victories. But if you're the owner of the team and you know your team's not going anywhere and you're trying to sell something to your fan base to come and have them come out, because this fan base is used to seeing really good teams, they're going to say, wait a minute, hold on. And you got to sell hope. So they're selling hope. As for Houston, Travis, I think Houston's a really good team. I think they missed Nico Collins. Look, they put 41 on the board in the game, and they were able to dominate that game, but they really didn't need to. Joe Mixon ran. They did the things they needed to. They were what good teams typically do is they took care of business. They're going to have to raise their level of play next week. I think they're just they need Nico Collins back to be a Super Bowl contending team.
Yeah, Michael, I like you bring up that the comments on Gerard Mayo on his current roster. When asked why is the roster in such a bad place, he said, I'm not going there, you tell me. What do you make of that with Gerard Mayo? It's like week by week where there is a way where he's tackling media right as a head coach, then it feels like he takes 5 steps back with comments like that. What do you make of that comment that he makes, calling out his roster and obviously calling out the past regime as well, being Bill Belichick, making those front office decisions?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, they all do it in the building, right? The owner does the same thing, too. I mean, he was saying that he couldn't trust Bill anymore. He's got 6 Super Bowl trophies over there in his case. I don't know where you get trust from if you can't. But, look, this is all about trying to discredit the former coach who won 6 Super Bowls and trying to build a new program, which they have every right to build. They own the team. But the reality of it is they signed Barmore back. They signed Uche back. They signed Duger back. They signed Peppers back. They signed all these guys back. Bill's not in the building anymore. So when you sign the players back, you can't blame him for what's going on. I think that to me, that's a little bit of talking out of both sides of your mouth. You can't say, I had heard of a bad team when most of the players you signed, particularly on defense, are the ones you signed back. And you had a full off season with $100 million of cap room to improve your team. So, look, Washington's not saying it's Ron Rivera's fault. Washington just got better. Washington had one pick higher than the Patriots, right? So they were a worse team than New England last year, but they have gotten better because they signed a bunch of guys. They're coaching better on defense. So it's really a cop-out. Like, at some point, when are they going to stop blaming Bill for everything that goes wrong? Oh, I know when they will. Is when they win. Is when then it'll be all on them.
Mm-hmm. Michael, you preaching, man. I feel like I'm about to catch the Holy Ghost in here, but I want to stay in the AFC East division and ask you about the Jets. Your thoughts on Devontae Adams going there? Look, the division is wide open. I know they just lost to the Bills, obviously, but, I mean, you look at the Dolphins. We don't know what's going on with Tua. The Patriots are a mess. You're going to see the Bills again. I mean, this division's still wide open. Do you like the Jets here?
I like Buffalo with Josh Allen. I think you always play the best quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, look, New England's got no chance. I mean, New England has no chance. They can't if they don't beat Jacksonville. Where do they get their next win? Is it at Tennessee? And then if they get the win in Tennessee, where's their next one? At Arizona? I mean, you're looking at a 3-win team. They're going to be competing with Carolina for the first pick of the draft. So to me, you can count them out of the East. I think Miami, if they don't beat Indianapolis, I don't see how they win the East. So it's Buffalo and the Jets, but the Jets all they do is talk. They don't actually act. I mean, last week they had a chance. It was supposed to be their uplifting moment. They were supposed to come in and dominate this game with a new coach, and yet they couldn't really get stops when they needed to. Buffalo only scored 3 points in the second half, but it was enough to win. I mean, Zerline misses those 2 kicks, hits the post twice, or else they win. But that's been the Jets' season. They just haven't made the plays down the stretch. I don't see how this moves the needle at all for the Jets. I mean, he replaces Alan Lazard as the number 2 receiver, which then makes Mike Williams expendable, which is what they're trying to do. They're trying to trade him now. So I just see this as a team that needs to play better and have more detail in their coaching. I think it was a good move to get Todd Dowling in there to help their offense, but it's still their offensive line is the biggest issue here. They can't block anybody.
Yeah, Tyron Smith out of left tackle, just an absolute liability out there. A guy that was great, but at his age now, not the same type of tackle he's been. You mentioned it. You're going with the Bills with Josh Allen. I just love their addition of Amari Cooper as well. Mm-hmm. He was disgruntled in Cleveland. He was upset in there. He leads the league in drops. I understand it. But do you think Amari Cooper going to Buffalo will revive his passion for football? And obviously that's a huge addition for Josh Allen as well. So how do you think that helps out Allen in that offense that really needed a number 1 receiver?
Well, I think it does help him. But look, I think you have to be honest with yourself. I mean, he had like 67 targets for Cleveland, and he had a 33% catch percentage, which isn't very good at all, right? So, and he dropped a lot of passes. But last year he was good. But I think his body language was worse than his drops. I think he felt like this quarterback can't get me the football. And I think that happens. I think he was longing for the day of Joe Flacco to come back. I think that was one of the things he wanted. Because Watson has been historically bad. I mean, I can give you numbers where Watson is actually worse than, in the first 6 games, he's worse than Jamarcus Russell. I mean, think about that for a minute. I mean, he's statistically, and this isn't from my eye evaluation, this is from the analytical community who goes through all those numbers. And he comes back with worse numbers than Jamarcus Russell did in his first 6 games. So you can't put this on anybody but the quarterback. He's got to deliver the ball. Now, clearly Cooper's got to catch it, but I think Cooper will come to life playing with Josh Allen.
Yeah, you mentioned Joe Flacco there, longing for Flacco, and I was thinking to myself, Flacco would have been a much better succession plan to sort of ease in Drake Maye than Jacoby Brissett, in my opinion. Flacco was available this offseason. The Patriots, for whatever reason, didn't want a part of him. Let me ask you about the situation in Pittsburgh, though, because I know Justin Fields, don't get me wrong, okay? We're not talking Joe Montana here, but I look at Mike Tomlin's situation as we're winning games. Fields isn't playing terrible. Even if Russ is healthy now, why even introduce this possibility of a quarterback controversy? Do you see it the same way as me, or do you understand it? Because it was a plan from the beginning anyway, Michael, right?
I think it was, Travis. And I think that if you read what Justin Fields said today about I didn't play well enough, I think you can feel they have a really good culture in their building, and they get it, right? I think they understand that look, Mike's got a really good control of that locker room. Just by Fields admitting he didn't play good enough tells you all you need to know. So, look, I think they're going to let Russell go in there, see if they can add more to their offense. I mean, Fields, I give the kid a lot of credit. I think the worldwide leader tried to make him into the MVP candidate when he wasn't even close to being ready to be that player, which was unfortunate for the kid. They put so much pressure on this kid. It was unfair. I think he's actually gotten better. I think he's done some good things, but he's just not consistent enough doing those things. And they're hoping that Russell can give them some life because, look, here's the reality. If Russell isn't any good, they go into the offseason knowing they need a quarterback. They have no quarterback. They can't go with Fields. He's a free agent. They can't go with Russell. He's going to be a free agent. They need to find out about Russell. They know what they have in Fields.
Yeah, and what did you make, though, of Mike Tomlin going public with this one? Do you think this is a conversation that's like behind closed doors with the two quarterbacks? Because I feel like that's one way to handle it. Or is it just Tomlin being old school, Mike Tomlin, one of the best head coaches in the NFL, and he knows what he's doing?
He knows what he's doing. He understands how to build his culture. He also knows what affects his culture, right? So he's really got a control of it. I mean, you don't see any problems come out of Pittsburgh. I mean, when George Pickens gets out of line, they usually fix it. That's what a head coach does. Mike doesn't blame anybody else. He understands we're in a win business. Mike's not blaming Bill Cowher for any of the mistakes that are going on now.
And, Mike, we've seen a couple trades go through. Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper. The trade deadline's going to heat up in the next 3.5 weeks or so. Do you see the Patriots making any possible moves? Mike Williams is out there. They need a pass catcher. Yeah. Maybe a tackle will be out there on the trade market.
Oh, Jamal, I think the Patriots are going to be sellers, not buyers. I don't think the Patriots are going to – I think the Patriots are going to collect picks. I think the Patriots are going to try to any player like Josh Uche who's on a one-year contract, who they re-signed, that they think could get some value back, I think they're going to take it. I think they know they're going to be picking at the top of the draft. I don't think there's any reason to sign an older player to bring him in that's really not going to move the needle. They need to develop their young players, and they're going to have to grin and bear what these are the decisions they've made, right? Mm-hmm. Again, there's always been turnarounds. Teams turn their season around. New England can blame everything on the past regime, but they've been in charge now since January.
Yeah, I like that call too, especially a Josh Uche on a rental deal, a team that needs a pass rush. They already did a deal with him. The Falcons can be a playoff contender. Yep. They need to re-up their pass rush. We saw with the Lions, lost an Aiden Hutchinson. Uche's not a Hutchinson, but he adds that lever. So it makes sense on those selling pieces. And what does that say to the locker room, though? Or is it just that we suck and we need to get players out of here, and they know it's all about the rebuild in the foundation year?
Yeah. Look, if you don't like it, play better.
Yeah.
What's the great Bob Knight line? What's the greatest motivator for a player is your ass is on the seat, sitting next to me. If you don't like it, play better.
Yeah. All right. He's Michael Lombardi, host of Coach with Bill Belichick, host of the GM Shuffle. Catch him every morning on VSiN Morning Line. Michael, thanks for taking the time and joining us.
Thank you, George. Thanks, Travis.
See ya. Love that point out by Michael there, T.
Love
that we talk about they could add a tackle. They could add a receiver.
Yes.
To me, the priority would be adding a tackle just to keep Drake Maye upright.
Yeah.
At the right price, we'd see what it would be.
Sure.
But the selling of certain players, I mean, that's a real conversation they should be having at One Patriot Place. I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, with those conversations, Travis, could heat up after this Sunday. If they lose again, which is a possibility against this Jaguars team, if they lose to the Jaguars, then you start looking at those guys like a Josh Uche. They want to go with the prove-it deal, and they go, well, are we going to overpay for him? We need more picks. We need to do a lot with this roster, and draft picks, assets are very valuable for a team as bad as they are right now.
It's also such an interesting cultural question in the sense of media members looking at it one way and then a guy who's done the gig looking at it a different way. When we went into that question, it was more about people who are available out on the market who could come in and help this putrid damn football team.
Yeah.
Mike Williams, even though none of us love him at wide receiver, I mean, my God, he walks through your doors, a number one wide receiver in this room.
Yeah.
Jamal Adams, who I think you and I both recognize his best days are behind him, but you need someone on the back end of that defense. That's someone who could help day one.
Yeah.
And Lombardi's like, no, they're looking to sell. I guess this season's over. It's all about stockpiling picks. I mean, it's just crazy to kind of look at things from a completely different lens, but he's right. I mean, the Patriots obviously are thinking more about the future than they are the present right now, but I agree with you. If you make any moves at all, it should be to protect your investment in Drake Maye. That's both protection, and I hear Mike on the Mike Williams saying, but I still think if you can go out and get him a bona fide weapon like Mike Williams, who does get hurt But talent's not an issue for him, George.
Yeah.
If you can get him a guy like that for pennies on the dollar, I think you should do it.
He's $1.2 million cap hit this year for Mike Williams, but he's played 6 games, so that's reduced. You have the cap number. The Jamal Adams conversation is hilarious, but that is an in-the-box player.
Yes.
Like, he is a glorified linebacker.
He can help.
Without Jabril Peppers, because we don't know if he'll even be back this season.
Right.
With Kyle Duggar needing to do so much and how bad this run defense has been, that is someone that they need. He's an okay tackler. He's okay as a run defender. He can add something into a pass rush. We see with that Jamal Adams conversation. Hey, before we dive into the Patriots-Jaguars preview, we talk about what Jerod Mayo's been doing as a head coach. We talk about what the culture is with the Patriots. We've been touching on all season long what it's like and what they're going through. They finally have that step in the right direction with the young prospect in Drake Maye getting his first start. And we see those glimpses of hope and optimism and definitely excitement for the fan base. But then we also see the news come out. Christian Barmore, pulled over in Providence, was not arrested, was cited tickets for expired registration. His vehicle was towed. But what was significant about this is that this comes out, Trev. And the story is that Christian Barmore is citing and wants to sue the police department for racially profiling him, being racist to him. Where I understand when black people are pulled over in America, it's a completely different experience than when I get pulled over in America. But we watched the video. It's 40 minutes long. We've seen the 7-minute clips. This was a Barmore that was pulled over because his vehicle wasn't registered. The police in Providence were handling it professionally, were being relaxed to him. He was acting very immature and he was acting very brash to them. At no point did they put their hands on him in a violent way. They handled it well. Barmore, watching that video, he's the one that looked out. It goes, you're 25 years old, man. And like they're pulling you over. They're communicating to you why you're pulled over. It was a bad look for him.
Yeah, I mean, look, I appreciate you bringing up the reality of there is a certain safety protocol that people of color have to follow when they're pulled over by the police. It's a sad reality.
Yeah.
It's one I was raised on how to conduct myself being pulled over. My parents passed it down to me, which I am passing down currently to my kids, of, hey, there is two Americas here. There is a different reality if you get pulled over. With that being said, Christian did not follow that protocol because black men in this country have been shot for less by police. And look, I'm just glad this didn't go as bad as it could have because it would be a completely different day here in the region. Okay? So thank goodness that the police, to their credit, were professional. I thought they were professional. I did not see. Now, I don't know about the pullover part, right? Expired tags or registration or whatever. I've been pulled over for that in the past, and I've had cops that are cool and just said, hey, if it's in the mail, you're good. Just get, when you get the sticker or whatever, you get the registration, get it done. Then I've had cops that give me a warning and let me go. Then you have cops that may give you a citation, right? It depends. But what you can't do is escalate the situation. And from at least the footage that we've watched, George, without knowing the whole thing, I have not seen the 40 minutes or however long it is, but from the clips we have seen, he did escalate the situation. So I'm just thankful that he's okay after it, living to tell about it and to press whatever charges or sue or do whatever he's going to do. But from what I watched, he was in the wrong. I'm just glad he's around to tell about it, and I hope no matter what comes out of this, from his standpoint, he learns from this. He learns from this. I hope there's somebody in his family that will watch the footage and have a real conversation with him and not just say, oh, it was the cop's fault. Someone needs to have a real conversation with him, but I just hope that he grows from this. Yeah,
I understand why when he gets pulled over, and there was heavy police, force in a way of there was a lot of officers on his vehicle. I understand why off the bat he reacted the way he did. There is stress, there is fear that black people in America deal with that, again, white people and other people of color don't. But once you watch that video, like the cops are saying to him, on the phone, actually, with Christian Barmore's mom, because he called his mom, he goes, he needs to step out of the vehicle. Right now, I'm afraid we have to take him out of the vehicle. I don't want it to get to that point. That is what an officer literally said to him. Like, he has to step out because his car is getting towed. I don't want it to get to that point. And with Barmore saying, I didn't do anything wrong, and they go, you didn't, but your registration is expired. It's something simple. And I understand, being from out of Massachusetts, you may not know these laws. Like, Christian Barmore, being from Florida, going to college in Alabama, getting used to Massachusetts, or in this case, Rhode Island laws, living in Rhode Island, it is like you're 25. Get your vehicle registered, get it inspected, whatever you have to do, make sure this stuff is taken care of. But I agree with you, T, that I'm happy he walked away from this alive because I know it could have went really sideways. And the thing on this, too, is someone that I will not defend when an officer acts wrong. I will not go, well, no. But these officers for Providence PD, like, they were very lenient. They were very patient. And luckily for Barmore and his well-being, they were patient with him. And like you said, he walked away from the situation that could have ended very, very badly.
Absolutely. And listen, you don't have to know all the laws. You got to know one thing. You know, if you're dealing with law enforcement and you are a black man in this country, you have to move very, very carefully. That's the reality.
Yeah.
And so what I saw on that, I understand he was upset.
Yeah.
But, man, that could have gone a lot worse. That could have gone left real quick, and I'm just glad it didn't.
All right, let's get into the preview. Patriots, Jaguars, kickoff Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. kickoff for us on the East Coast.
Yes,
I love
Lord.
it, man. I'll be making my breakfast.
Tea
got
and
my
crumpets.
Eggs. Yeah, no tea, man. No tea.
What?
Black coffee. We're American.
How about mimosas? How about some Bloody Marys? How about another shrimp on the barbie?
Australia?
I don't know.
It's only a matter of time until they're playing games in Australia.
I was on
won't
a
be
roll.
shocked. Look, Jaguars coming in. They've lost 10 of their last 12 games.
Yep.
Favored by 5.5. So, as you were saying, with Drake Maye playing and how bad the Jaguars are, maybe they're a favorite.
Yeah.
Vegas is still saying no. This game opened up a 3.5-point spread
Yes.
in favor of Jacksonville. Now up to 5.5, 6 in some books. Jaguars have lost 10 of their last 12. They stayed out in England between last week and this week, while the Pats will get on a plane, get acclimated, and be in London for this game. Tough spot for Drake Maye to make a second start, just because you take him from game prep and game day routine at home to now going international, being on neutral site. Before we get into all that, what are you thinking of this game, though, between the Patriots and the Jaguars? Both teams need to win badly. I would say this is even more important, more of a must-win game for the Jaguars, Trav.
Well, every win is must-win for Doug Peterson's job,
Yes.
right? I'll say this, though, about Drake Maye. I actually think it might be easier for him to make this start. If this were his debut start, it could be difficult, obviously. But I think having one game under his belt, getting that routine at home, that home cooking, so to speak, and then going on the road for your second start is a little bit easier probably than you think, because everyone's out of sorts. Everyone's uncomfortable when you travel across the pond for these games, except obviously the Jaguars. It's a home game for them, George. Those fans love them out there more than they do in Jacksonville, and they've been out there, as you said, this whole time. So they're acclimated, ready to go. So I don't think Drake Maye's at some big disadvantage because he's a rookie per se in his second start. As far as the game, I'm sorry. Jacksonville is not 5.5 points better than anybody in the G-damn league.
They might be than the Patriots, though.
No. By the way,
This Pats roster is awful.
remember what we talked about after Sunday's action, okay? Let's not forget it. After the Jaguars' last loss, what were the reports coming out of the locker room immediately following the game?
That they're quitting on the team.
Okay, so when your players, multiple players, are saying that in the media, I think Jacksonville missed an opportunity to get rid of their head coach last week. I thought that was the time to fire him. They hung on to him, maybe because, I don't know, we're still out here in London just hanging out. We'll ride with you for one more week.
What
I
would
don't
be
know.
the protocol? You're
I don't
fired,
know.
find your own flight home?
I guess. Maybe they didn't want to deal with that.
Let me sidetrack you real quick.
Yeah.
That would be awesome to get fired in Europe and go,
It would.
all right, cool. I'm still getting paychecks for you
Yeah.
guys, and I'm disappearing to like southern Italy.
Yes. But,
take it.
but they kept them. No, okay, no problem. Advantage Patriots, George, is my point, because listen, you got guys talking about quitting.
Yeah.
You have this bad team coming in, so you're like, all right, we're gonna get right here. No, you're not. The Patriots are gonna hang in this game, George. A, because they got fight in them and they got a little spark with Drake Maye as a starter. B, because the Jaguars suck. So what happens when you let a bad team and the Patriots hang in the game with you and you're not a good team yourself? You quit. You start saying, man, we really do stink. All of a sudden, Drake Maye's got all the momentum. This is a game the Patriots can steal. I'm not willing to go money line with the Pats, but I will take gladly that 5.5 points. Where it opened, George, tells you the truth.
3.5.
Look, this feels more like a Jaguars -3 to me. But
And you're hoping for a push at that.
yes, but 5.5, no. This game's going to come down to the end for, who's the worst bowl. This is a who's the worst team bowl of the league.
So I understand the crap that Trevor Lawrence has been getting.
Yes.
He is dealing with the highest pressure rate of his career so far.
Okay.
This offensive line has not been good. They've invested in receivers. But what we saw Sunday against the Bears, who are one of the top defenses in the NFL, were 4 dropped touchdown passes. One hit Gabe Davis in the chest. One hit Brian Thomas Jr. in the hands as he's going into the end zone.
Yep.
One hit Christian Kirk in the hands as he was falling back into the end zone.
Yep.
This is Trevor Lawrence making the throws. It's the players around him not pulling through. On top of that, they had 2 turnovers, 8 penalties. There were 2 fumbles on the Jaguars side, 1 lost. This is going to be another ugly football game. And I just think of where the Jaguars are right is what is going to expose the Patriots, because I understand there were 4 turnovers on the Patriots side. A Drake Maye strip sack, 2 Drake Maye interceptions, and an Austin Hooper fumble. And that set up the Texans with very short fields and room to work. But there were multiple 50-plus yard runs broken off. There were multiple, like 5-plus players with 20 or more yards gained on a single play. And Tank Bigsby sounds like he'll be a go for the Jaguars. Tank Bigsby is a running back that is great after contact, where almost, I think, 80% of his rushing yards this season come after contact. What do we see glaring and staring the Patriots in the face? Poor run fits, poor tackling, allowing Dameon Pierce and Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon on one leg, coming off an ankle sprain, on one leg, running all over them. Those 2 guys alone averaging over 8 yards a carry. And then on top of this, the total pressures haven't been there for the Jaguars. But when a team is getting blown out as much as they are and losing as much as they are, those opportunities are less. Both Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker rank in the top 15 for pressure rate. Both of them rank outside the top 35 in the NFL in true pass sets and pass rush opportunities. And I will put that Joshua Hines-Allen, he has a 17% win percentage on his pass rushes. Will Anderson just below him at 15%. What did Will Anderson do to the Patriots? 3 sacks, 5 pressures, kicking Drake Maye's ass. The defensive line's really important for the Jaguars and their success. Awful secondary. Awful pass defense on the back end.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible. They won't get the assistance that the Texans do in their secondary and their coverage. And there will be something here with the Pop Douglas and Kayshon Boutte doing more, especially against really bad cornerbacks. But the Patriots are bad at the line of scrimmage. Vidarian Lowe is still popping up on the injury report as a DNP. Ramondre Stevenson is still yet to practice as of the recording of this podcast.
Yeah, he hasn't practiced this week.
If it's Zach Thomas again, who has 90 career reps at left tackle starting for the Pats this week, when you get him against a Josh Allen and a Trayvon Walker, that alone is something that can ruin the Pats Sunday. And then if you go on the reverse on how bad their defense has been, they still let up 41 points. There was a missed field goal. There was an interception in the end zone in the Patriots' favor. It got out of hand. And this is a team that I don't know if they can run the ball. The Jaguars' run defense isn't spectacular, but I don't know if they can run the football. And even when you look at efficiencies, the Patriots' pass defense and the run defense isn't there either. Like, it's on the bottom half of the NFL. If the defense can't help, when you go against a team that could put up 24 points in their sleep, let alone go and drop 35 like we've seen them do, this is where it spells. I understand the quit, and I understand how bad the Jaguars have been. Undisciplined, bad football team. This is going to be a bad game on Sunday, but the Patriots, it's talent, and maybe the desperation is higher for Jacksonville. Maybe they all know in that locker room, look, we know it's written. We know Doug is cooked. Let's at least make this guy go out with some dignity. Let's at least beat a team we should kick their ass. Well, because at the same time, we haven't seen the progress from Gerard Mayo and his team.
At least we agree that this is a bad football game with 2 bad football teams.
I'm not going to put lipstick on a pig.
We agree there.
Yep.
I guess what I'm arguing is momentum and trending. Which team is trending up? Which team is trending down? This Jaguars team has quit. It sounds like to me, as in last week. Yeah. Whereas this Patriots team has a little glimmer of hope with that quarterback under center.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to take them here in a road game situation, as we mentioned. This is a home game for Jacksonville. Here's the other thing that you brought up. Tank Bigsby is a fine running back. He's nothing special.
Yeah.
He is not some explosive back that I have to worry about getting loose and going crazy. Listen, if Tank Bigsby has a big game in London on Sunday against the Patriots can still win the game. What they have to eliminate, George, is a big play. That's what did them in against the Texans.
And they haven't been doing it the past few weeks.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying you got to lock in on that and eliminate the big play. That's where you got to lean on a Gerard Mayo, evidently, as a defensive genius, right?
Yeah.
We got to see that here because I know the personnel is what the personnel is. But guess what? The personnel is what the personnel is. Go out and get the results. Eliminate the big play against a bad team. Shouldn't be that hard to ask for, right? Trevor Lawrence is the king of inconsistency. 1 week, he looks like the guy who deserves the contract that he got. The next 2 weeks, he looks like a guy where you think, did the Jaguars make a mistake signing him to that big money? That's what you need here. You got to eliminate the big play. I can't believe I'm saying this far into his career, but you have to make Trevor Lawrence beat you over the top. I don't think he can do that.
He can with Brian Thomas Jr.
He can. He's capable of doing it, but he's not.
BTJ is great.
He's capable of doing it, but he's not consistent doing it. So I need my defense to show up. If they could do that, keep this game close, I think the Patriots can steal it. But and by the way, that's what Tank Bigsby controlling the ball, time of possession, having a great run game.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I think that's the kind of game the Patriots can hang in. I really do. If you go up against a high-octane, Showtime, Lakers-type offense where they're just running and ripping on you, big plays over the top, you're done. You're done. You can't allow that to happen. If you go against a team that's playing ball control, we don't want to turn it over.
Which I think they will.
We want to try to play bully ball.
Yep.
I think the Patriots have a shot.
Well, I think what the Jaguars are going to come out with is that they're great running up the middle, especially behind Mitch Morse and Brandon Scherf. So that's going to be a big challenge on Devon Godchaux and Daniel Ukuwale, who have been okay in run defense. And the Jaguars' run D on the opposite side, they're 10th in yards allowed per rush. And think about the amount of rush volume that they're seeing, the amount of attempts against them, because, again, they're playing from behind so much that teams are protecting leads. Then you go on the reverse of, for the Patriots' run D, since week 3, ranked 17th in expected points added per rush. So that means teams are getting more, and they're giving up more than they should. And we've just seen this constant struggle with them. Jelani Tavai's been good. We'll see Sione Takitaki in his second game back. We'll see what Anthony Jennings can do. But for a team like the Jaguars that have the legit threat because of their receiving group to attack you downfield, for a team like the Jaguars that can run the ball, they just have to play clean. They just have to button it up. And again, we know how much these London games matter to owners. Like the Jets fired Robert Saleh coming off a loss in London, where Woody Johnson is a big name out there in the UK. Shad Khan made his billions in the UK, selling bumpers on cars, I think is the most amazing way to make your millions. Like, you're literally selling the bumpers. But the Jaguars have the biggest fan base out of all the teams in London. This is back-to-back. If they walk out 0-2. But Robert Kraft, someone that is pushing international growth, his team is the most popular in Germany. It's something that he consciously pushes for to make happen. This matters to them as well. Mm-hmm. It's going to matter to these owners. But for the players and the teams they have on the field, they're just not good. Mm-hmm. I just still don't believe and I don't buy into this Patriots roster, and that's tough. You're asking them, like, they got to step up. We've seen them on 9 days rest between a Thursday night loss and then a Sunday loss have the same errors glare in their face. We've seen this team week to week make the same mistakes. The penalties are still there. The yardage may not be there, but the bad, poorly timed penalties, false starts, holdings, DPIs.
Jacksonville has that too, though, dog. That's what I'm telling you. This isn't some elite team. This is a week. Hey, by the way, Mike Lombardi said this, and he's right. You start looking at that schedule, George. This is a spot. You're not going to get many. This is a spot. You got to try and get this win.
Yeah,
they're bad too. I hear you. You're not wrong, but we're not talking about the Texans. We're talking about the Jaguars with a coach who is literally a lame duck.
He is. Like, I put Doug Peterson as saving his job and making it to the bye week because of the Bears-Patriots stretch that they have coming up, and the Colts too. So they beat the Colts. I thought they can go 3-0. Well, they're not. But if they can still go 2-1, the Jaguars win at the line of scrimmage.
It's fair.
And the Jaguars win on the outside.
Yeah.
The Patriots don't do either. And that is where I keep going back to, We saw this bump. They got that quarterback bump. They still lost 41-21.
Here's two options that I think they should think about offensively. And I hope Alex Van Pelt is doing this because Lord knows he didn't do it last week.
Yeah.
I'll start with Antonio Gibson because, look, we're not doctors. We just play him on Foxboro Rush.
Yeah.
But it does appear as though Ramondre is likely not going to play. And if he does, he's clearly limited, right? He's not himself. So we're going to Antonio Gibson again. George, we have got to utilize this man differently than last week, which pretty much, translation, you didn't use him at all. He needs more touches. Notice I didn't say carries, right? He needs more touches of the football.
And that's what a good play caller does.
Thank you. Carries.
They don't have a
he
good
can
play
catch
caller.
out of the – well, okay. But I'm saying
but I
these are
understand
the
what you're
X
saying.
factors,
Yeah,
right?
no, you're right.
So
you're challenging AVP, and I agree with your challenge.
Let's see if we can get him catches out of the backfield. If he can get more carries, more consistent with the run game, which has been lacking for weeks. I at least understood last week because you were getting smoked. But you got to have a commitment to the run. He's capable of doing that, and he's certainly capable of catching the ball as well. How about Pop Douglas? Let's not just throw him the football. He appears to me to be the only consistent playmaker on this roster offensively. Get him touches. Why can't we get reverses with him? Why can't you get bubble screens? Get the ball in his hands fast. I mean, there should be more creativity for these versatile playmakers that they do have, George.
Yeah.
Antonio Gibson is versatile. Pop Douglas is versatile. Try to get the ball in the hands, and that helps a rookie quarterback, doesn't it? Try to get the ball in the hands of the playmakers. You have to, when you're this bad, you got to simplify things across the board. I just feel like this team offensively, I don't get it because they're so bad. They feel too cute to me. They feel too cutesy. Just get the ball in these guys' hands faster, those two in particular. And I'm telling you, this is going to be a closer game than you think. I'm not saying the Patriots are going to win it.
Score prediction.
I'm saying they have a shot to do it, but I will take them to cover this damn spread. I'll go, I think they're going to win this game. I think they're going to win this game. I'm going 26. I'll go 26-24. Walk-off.
Holy
slide.
cow.
Sly and the Family Stone, 26-24, Drake Maye.
I don't hate
Patriots win, Joey Sly walk-off in London.
So what that tells me, you have Joey Sly going 4 for 4 with field goals in this game.
You saw that, right? Smooth.
I got to do that quick count. 35-24, Jaguars win.
Woo!
35-24. This
Man.
Patriots defense worries me.
Yeah, that's a problem. Now that's back-to-back weeks where your defense was a sieve. If you're right? Like that's a problem. The Texans, you almost, it's not an excuse, but you're like, all right. But, man, if you get smoked like that on an international stage, everyone's watching to a bad Jaguars team, and like you said, if the defense does not show up, you got a real – hey, getting in trouble off the field, George – defense, a sieve, your side of the ball. Hey, everyone tells me that I'm crazy to suggest that Gerard Mayo may not be here after this season if this team wins 1 or 2 games. Good Lord. If you lose an international play, everyone's watching, and the Jags, who are quitting on their coach, blow you out. I'm just saying, don't call me crazy. I am, but don't call me crazy if it happens. Or what they call it, Black Monday, when they fire all the coaches after the season. Don't be surprised if the Patriots make a move. This is one of those ones you at least got to be competitive, George.
Yeah, total 41.5 in this game. We both have the over.
Yep, I like the
this
over.
One. All right, talking on bets on this game, we got a special guest coming up. Told y'all we have a special guest. It's Lucy Burdge joining us from Odyssey, giving out some picks.
Hello, gentlemen.
Great to have you in the studio with us. So, Lucy, before we even get some of your picks for this weekend in the NFL, excited for London?
I am so
Or the
excited.
London game.
So I am excited for London because the game, I do have a pick in the game, but the game is, as we say, the toilet bowl. It's going to be, it's 2 great teams. So very, very excited for the game itself, but also for it to be in London. So I do follow the royal family. I am a royal family watcher.
Okay.
So all things London I am aware of. And I have been following it for a long time. So I do know what crumpets are. I do know what a fascinator is, which is the small small hat you wear to special occasions. Wouldn't be shocked to see some people wearing fascinators at this game, which you should. You should wear this because it's a special occasion.
Fascinators to an NFL game sounds dirty.
This is true.
Sounds
like
wrong.
a little football fascinator. They should sell Patriots fascinators at the game.
I guess it's like a when in London thing.
Yes, it is. And you wear it's like you clip it into your head basically. I had one because
Trav can't do that.
No, I can't.
You could stick it on.
I'm follically challenged.
Okay, that's fair, but you could stick it onto your head. There's always the decorum in London does state to wear things like that. So, for the royal wedding in 2012, Prince William and Kate, I did dress up for it, wore a fascinator. So I have some experience in this. So I'm excited for the London game, yes.
So what will you be doing for the game in your own space? Are you going to are you sipping tea and crumpets? Are you wearing the fascinator? What are we doing for the game?
Yes, so I will be getting my fascinator out. I did have one for the second royal wedding, though I'm not a big fan of that wedding in itself. But I did have one for that one, so I might get that one out. Be drinking tea, obviously.
Wait, was that Prince Harry? Was that a Prince Harry shot? I caught that shot.
Yeah.
I don't know how I caught it.
Not the biggest fan.
But I knew it.
Yeah, it's okay. It's I've kind of fallen off of following that, but because I have things to do, But I will be getting that out. Drinking tea, obviously, and perhaps crumpets because you can buy crumpets and.
Oh, you can.
You can.
Luce, he left his family for Meghan Markle.
I can't blame him. I cannot blame him at all.
Oh boy,
Meghan Markle.
I mean,
it's Meghan Markle.
She's beautiful, though. I'm not leaving my family, bro.
He's gonna get the money no matter what. He has more freedom. This is a football podcast, but I like where this is going.
I can turn anything into the royal family.
It's Meghan Markle.
I listened to his entire audiobook. I bought the audiobook of his book, and I listened to the whole thing. I had a British accent by the end of it, which was fine. But it sounds deranged in this book, where it's like these stories that don't even it is so in the weeds of stuff that I do not feel bad for him. I do not feel bad for him.
I don't
feel bad for him. He's still a millionaire and he has Meghan Markle.
My family ain't even royal, and I ain't leaving my family.
Yeah, his family.
She fine,
his
George,
family.
but I ain't leaving my family.
I think at some point he might go back there, and who knows which members of the royal family we'll see at this game. By the way, I think William could be there. They do enjoy sports, so I think we could see some sightings.
So let's see. We'll see. There's probably bets out there on who will be spotted.
Oh, this is a good point.
Pats, Jaguars, spreads around 5.5, depending where you're shopping. What are you liking for this game?
So I like the Patriots plus 5.5.
Good.
And I was toss up between taking the Patriots or not betting this at all because I didn't know where to go with this because the Patriots surprise you at how low they can go, So I thought, why don't I just skip it? But then I thought, no. This is a good spot. If they're going to get 2 wins this season, this could be one of them. Mm-hmm. Patriots plus 5.5. I think this spread is a big enough number that they could even keep it close. They could keep it within a field goal maybe, or outright win the game. So I feel like this will be a Patriots cover at least. Patriots plus 5.5.
Really high total in this one. Depending where you look, you find 49, 51. I like the over on this one. I think
love the
both
over
defense
here.
are suspect. Both quarterbacks can throw it a ton.
Yep.
Obviously, the Jaguars have a lot more firepower. That's why I go either way on the side. It did open 3.5, and then now it's up to 5.5. So it is a great number to catch your Pats at.
It is. And the over I like very much. The Jaguars have one of the worst defenses.
They have the worst pass
league.
defense. Run defense is okay.
Drake
Patriots
May.
defense can't stop anyone.
Right. So the over is, I think, the play here. And Drake May, I think, will be slinging it. So I think that the over is very good.
I love it. I'm taking the 5.5 points because I'm sorry. The Jaguars are not 5.5 points better than any damn body because their team stinks.
They do. They stink. This is why this game is going to be fascinating to me. A lot of people
both have one win.
One win. I'm telling you, a lot of people are like, this game is going to be awful. I am fascinated by this game. This game is going to be interesting.
It's going to be bad football.
It's going to be bad, but it also
because of Drake May, there is a fascination aspect to it. Of course. If it was Jacoby Brissett, it would be like ugly, bad football around.
Yes.
Like worst way to start your day. At least we're going to see 2 talented quarterbacks that can throw the ball a ton playing.
It's very true. There's a tune-in factor to this, I think.
You got any more of them bets?
Yeah, I do. I have one more bet. I do have one more bet.
I love them bets.
I certainly do. Well, Drake May, speaking of Drake May, over 205.5 passing yards for Drake May. He hit this in his debut, and I think he will do this again. No concerns about the knee. MRI or not, who knows? He was walking without a limp. Whether or not that was staged.
I think the MRI was like a floozy ass report, but he definitely was on the injury report. No braces, no knee sleeves, moving around fine.
Love it.
The MRI thing was complete BS.
That's what I
think
figured.
Drake May's gonna be okay.
Yeah, Ben Volen's a good reporter, but it is what it is. MRI or no, I have no concerns at all about Drake May in this game. I think this will be a massive game for Drake May, and that's why I think the Patriots will win. I think it could have consequences for maybe more the Jaguars and who they fire, perhaps, should they lose. Because I don't think Gerard Mayo is going to get fired if they lose this game. So I would think it has more consequences for the Jaguars should they lose. So more on the line for them, though I don't think Robert Kraft wants the Patriots to lose another international game.
I told George, I thought Doug Peterson's ass should have been fired in London last week. I know you're a Lions backer, as am I. I have a ticket on the Lions to win the Super Bowl, although I have concerns with Hutch being out on a bad defense. He was your one stud. Now he's gone. I don't know. Do you like the Lions against the Vikings, though? Because the Vikings have yet to lose a game. Do you think – I saw +2 for the Lions. Do you feel like the Lions are going to win this game outright? Are you on the money line? Are you taking the 2? Do you think the Vikings get it done? Where are you at on this game?
So I'm taking the 2 here. Lions +2. The Lions can play teams closer. Let's say they lose by 1 even. I am so much more comfortable taking Lions +2 rather than money line in terms of the Lions. And Hutch is concerned. Yes, I am a Lions backer. And that began when Eminem was on Hard Knocks 2 years ago, and he was in the Lions.
I remember
that. And it happens to be Eminem's birthday today. It's a very big day, and it was Travis' birthday yesterday.
He's a Libra like me, baby. Let's go, Em.
Exactly. And he also will be a grandfather, and he was told this through a Lions jersey that said Grandpa on the back of it.
Congrats.
So Lions Super Bowl win, obviously, but
because everything's lining up for Eminem.
Correct. Yeah. This is
George,
exactly
favorite Eminem song. Mine's Superman.
Superman. Yeah, Superman's a good one.
That's a great one.
What's one? Lose Yourself.
That's a
classic.
That is one of them. That's one of them. Yes.
Spaghetti. You can't go wrong.
You can't. No.
Not how it goes.
That's how it goes. That's how it starts. Actually, that's what they made.
George.
They built the whole 8 Mile movie off of that line.
Yeah.
That's how it began. Spaghetti.
Lions +2 against that good Vikings defense.
Yes.
It is interesting though. You say they stick in it, even with Aiden Hutchinson going down.
Correct. So the Vikings, of course, have a better record, and this is why I went back and forth on this as well, because the Vikings are very good, but the Lions step up in places where they need to, and I have a lot of faith in them to do that, and especially with Hutch out. He left during the game, but they also scored a lot of points in that game. So I have a lot of faith in the Lions to cover this against, and they also, Dan Campbell is a big quotes guy. He's a big hype vibes guy, but the way he has been talking leading up to this game is very pragmatic, very, we have to stay calm. We know the challenge ahead of us. This will be a challenge, but they are ready for it. So I think mentally they will be prepared. They know how big of a challenge this will be. So mentally they'll be prepared. Jared Goff, my MVP pick, most underrated quarterback in the league right now. So I think yes, he is. So I think
run through the quarterback Rolodex in my head.
You know it's true, George.
It's just Jared Goff.
He loves
I think he's like rightfully rated.
Jared Goff.
I think he's just like he's the
he's the best quarterback in the league. So I would say, and many don't say that. So underrated. So that is my MVP pick. So behind Jared Goff, I think they can beat the Vikings.
Jared Goff and Bo Nix is George's dream quarterback.
I do not hate Jared Goff. I do not.
Sounds like you do. It sounds like you hate Jared Goff
in there with Bo Nix.
Sounds like you hate him.
Bo Nix is terrible. I'm still laying the points with the Broncos because I still like that pick. I know Trav wanted to ask you about some futures.
Oh, yeah, please.
Well, look, we talked about the Lions, and all that is cute, right? But
it is cute.
With Hutch out, I need an alternative. Give me somebody. Give me someone in the NFC. The NFC's wide open. George likes the Packers. I can't really argue him, even though I'm a Lions backer. It's a logical pick. I think the Bucks. I saw the Bucks at 17-1 in a wide open NFC with Baker Mayfield, Todd Bowles. Feels like there's something there. Give me your backup plan to the backup plan. If it doesn't work for the Lions, who do you see in the NFC?
Yes. So let's say disaster occurs and the Lions do not win the Super Bowl. The Bucks is not a bad choice. So there is something with the way Baker Mayfield woke up when he said that the way Tom Brady ran or was in this team and created an atmosphere where everyone was scared, and they still won a Super Bowl, but everyone was scared, and they brought me in to let everyone relax, and not everyone's not stressful. As Tom Brady was responding to these comments on the broadcast, Baker Mayfield had a fantastic game and kind of showed him, you know what, you can do it two ways. You can win two ways. So something within Baker Mayfield woke up. He has a chip on his shoulder. He has something to prove. Because when Tom Brady left and retired, people said, well, now the Buccaneers are back to mediocrity and obscurity and nobody is going to care about them. And Baker Mayfield came in and said, no, I am going to keep this team relevant. And I think he really has a mission to do that. So the Buccaneers is not a bad choice.
Yeah, especially with the defense that can get healthy and obviously has a great receiving group. Running game's emerging. Great offensive lineman as well, and Tristan Wirfs. I mean, Baker's got that moxie. He's got that big game in him. So
he does.
That is now the NFC with the Lions didn't have a good defense. All they had was the pressures that Aiden Hutchinson was generating. He's the best at his position in the NFL this season. That's a huge loss. I'm interested to see what they add at the deadline. Yeah. But this is when you look outside. Who are the other teams that can emerge? Buccaneers, certainly one of them. All right, she's Lucy Burdge of Odyssey. Appreciate you hopping on Foxboro Rush. This was a fun one.
This was so much fun.
The education on London now. We're going to go get our fasteners.
Yeah, cheerio, guys. Toodles, toodaloo.
She's Lucy Burdge. He's Travis Thomas.
Cheerio.
I'm George Balekji. Hi, Meghan Markle. This is Foxboro Rush. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.